Tonight, Shelter Set Up, the new project for homeless Londoners taking shape south of the city. Plus, mandatory masks. The preventative measure in local hospitals makes a return.
Try to enjoy the holiday season as much as you can, but not get sick or get somebody else sick.
And Sarnia's fight for a recreation centre.
2026 is not the year to put an extra burden on the taxpayers.
Council overruling a strong mayor veto to move the project forward.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with London's new micro-shelter community taking shape this afternoon with the first set of modular units delivered. As Daryl Newcomb reports, those will start sheltering Londoners experiencing homelessness as early as next month.
The first 20 micro-shelters that'll house homeless Londoners on Cheese Factory Road began arriving on Monday. It marks a major milestone for the project and the start of a busy construction period on the site, as seen in this drone video provided by the City of London. Deputy Mayor Sean Lewis has received a progress report from city staff.
Everybody has been really determined to make this happen, and we are getting very close to being ready to open it up and start welcoming people.
Among the work currently underway, servicing continues, as does the placement of fill, installation of hydro poles, as well as the construction of electrical service and an electrical room. 40 additional micro-shelters, bringing the site up to the anticipated 60, will arrive early in the new year. The Director of Water, Wastewater and Stormwater telling CTV News, quote, "The remaining cabins are scheduled to arrive during the week of January 5th. While the cabins will not be move-in ready upon delivery, placement and servicing connections can begin once they're on site." The micro-shelters were purchased and are being shipped from Stony Creek-based Faro International for a total price of $1.26 million. The city will spend up to $7 million to build and operate the micro-shelter community until April 2027. A private company, Expera, was hired to operate the facility, and last week city staff met with frontline agencies to discuss the provision of support services to the residents.
Partnerships are going to play a key role. Obviously, when it comes to identifying appropriate tenants to move into these shelters, work that's already been happening, that plays a role. This is not a site for everyone.
Delivery of the remaining 40 micro-shelters will coincide with the arrival of trailers for washrooms, showers, meals, and an office. According to City Hall, the project remains on track to open in mid-January. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Provincial police say they've charged a suspect accused of killing a tow truck operator in a hit and run earlier this month. With the latest on the investigation and today's arrest, here's Colton Weens.
Nearly 3 weeks after a tow truck operator from Kitchener was killed on Highway 401, police arrested and charged a man Monday.
The Oxford OPP arrested and charged a 32-year-old male from Mount Hope, Ontario, with dangerous operation causing death and failure to stop after an accident resulting in death.
On December 3rd, a 42-year-old tow truck operator from Kitchener was helping a stranded motorist near Oxford Road 3 when he was hit by a passing vehicle just after 7 in the morning. The vehicle that hit him fled the area. Police released a photo of a vehicle of interest and said they had identified a driver on December 4th.
Between that time and now, a full investigation took place with assistance from the Oxford OBP Major Crime Unit as well as the OBP Traffic Incident Management Enforcement Team. And as a result of that investigation, on today's date, the accused driver was arrested and charged.
32-year-old Sandeep Singh of Mount Hope was arrested on Monday.
We just want to thank the public for their assistance in providing the information that they did. And again, just want to share our thoughts and condolences to the victim's family and loved ones during this tragic time.
The president of the Professional Towing Association of Ontario tells CTV News it means a lot to the industry to see charges laid.
We're just, happy that somebody has been charged with this and that the courts can do their due process on it.
Following the crash, tow truck operators from across the province gathered in Kitchener to hold a procession along the 401, celebrating the life of the man that was killed and to remind all drivers in Ontario that it is law to move over and slow down for emergency vehicles and tow trucks on the highway with their flashing lights on.
To know that the system is working as it's such. And it is a reminder to all the motorists out there that they need to slow down, move over. And if they don't, there's consequences for it. So, yeah, we're definitely, as an industry, very pleased to see that this has happened.
Colton Ween, CTV News.
Here on OPP, say a 79-year-old has died after a rollover crash last week. They say a driver flipped into the ditch just south of Exeter Friday afternoon. 2 people were inside, one of whom was taken to hospital and did not survive. Federal leaders have announced Canada's next ambassador to the United States, who will take over the job in February when the current ambassador steps down. Jeremy Sherrill has more on the appointment and why the Prime Minister thinks he's the right man for the job.
He is a global investment banker, pension fund manager, and friend of Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, Mark Wiseman will be Canada's next ambassador to the U.S.
There is going to be an enormous amount of hurdles and landmines that the ambassador is going to have to walk through.
He steps into what is widely viewed as Canada's top foreign post without any diplomatic experience, but the Prime Minister's office points to his extensive experience at American financial institutions and knowledge of capital markets on both sides of the border.
He brings that outside of politics, real-world experience that I think will be of benefit to the country for sure.
In a social media post announcing the appointment, the Prime Minister says, as a core member of our negotiating team, I know he will advance the interests of Canadian workers, businesses, and institutions.
Carney is betting that Wiseman's finance credentials will command the attention and the respect of Trump.
A bet that couldn't come with higher stakes for the trade relationship between the two countries.
And there's a lot of anxiety over sectoral tariffs and then the Kuzma review. So really important here in this case that the Prime Minister has recruited someone who's a globally recognized deal maker.
In 2025, the current Kuzma deal helped shield Canada from the worst impacts of tariffs. But with its review set to begin in the new year, there are no guarantees.
The president can and quite possibly will walk away from this agreement. And if he does, then I think all bets are off.
Sources tell CTV News Wiseman won't be alone at the negotiating table. The Prime Minister, along with Dominic LeBlanc, the Minister in charge of Canada-U.S. relations, will also play critical roles. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadian health officials are warning about flu cases spreading, with more than 1,200 hospitalizations and dozens of deaths reported in Alberta.
This is a very simple, free, widely available tool that we can take to reduce the risk of flu. And also, even if you do get the flu, it can mitigate the severity of the illness. And of course, listen, we know what the flu shot is and we know what the flu shot isn't. Like, no one's surprised that it's not perfect. No one's advertising it as perfect. We have decades of experience with this. It's still the best we have. And even though it's not perfect, it still does a really good job in either reducing the risk of flu or reducing the severity of the flu. And it's a very good idea. It's also not too late to get a flu shot if people haven't received one yet.
According to Health Canada officials, nearly 30% of Canadian tests are coming back positive this month, the highest percentage in the last 3 years. They say hospitalizations are up across Canada, with Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC and Quebec all seeing increased activity. Here in our region, hospital leaders are taking preventative measures. In Sarnia, officials at Blue Water Health are bringing back masking mandates. Lauren Stallone reports.
Sarnia's Blue Water Health has implemented masking in all clinical areas following a recent surge in influenza cases.
Out of abundance of precaution to protect our staff and patients, we decided to implement this mandatory masking whenever we're within 2 meters of a patient and assume that basically everybody is positive.
Dr. Michael Haddad with Blue Water Health says he has seen the effects of the severe flu season firsthand.
I still encourage people to be vaccinated for both influenza and COVID, and knowing that they're not necessarily 100% effective, but they will really reduce to a certain extent the the impact of such infection if you get it, so you don't get as sick and end up in the hospital.
Haddad says wearing a mask is just one of the many layers of protection against infection.
Our staff, if we think they've been exposed to influenza without any protection, then we also offer them Tamiflu.
With Christmas around the corner, Haddad is warning individuals to be mindful of their symptoms and who they come in contact with.
If you think that any family member is at higher risk of getting really sick if they contract the influenza, then it's probably best to stay away from them.
Blue Water says it will continue to review its masking requirement and make changes based on respiratory illness trends.
Try to enjoy the holiday season as much as you can, but not get sick or get somebody else sick.
Symptoms of influenza may include fever, cough, body aches, and extreme tiredness. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Meanwhile, here in London, LHSC officials say as of last week, masks are mandatory for all healthcare workers whenever they have direct patient contact in clinical areas. For patients and visitors, masking is strongly recommended, but not required. Provincial officials say they're implementing a new framework for appointing members of the Grey Bruce Health Unit. That health unit is currently under supervision by Ontario's chief medical officer. The provincial government took control of the health unit after several public servants were dismissed. Today, special advisors issued a statement saying they've established a so-called skills matrix for new board members. They say this has been done in consultation with wardens from Grey and Bruce counties. Some of the issues cited include governance, financial management, and human resources. Crews in St. Thomas have demolished a section of Talbot Street after a fire ripped through an old building last week. With the latest on the fire's fallout, here's Brent Lale.
This is all that's left of the historic Central Block.
Sadly, fire is taking its toll on Talbot Street, and this building, the Central Building, was constructed in 1882 at a cost of $5,000, and those three stores have served the citizens of downtown St. Thomas for a lot of years, and sadly we got another hole.
Under the direction of the St. Thomas Fire Department, the upper apartments have been demolished.
Their insurance companies will kind of be taking over at this point. So basically now we'll be waiting for them to kind of get back to us as to how they wish to proceed with next steps.
There is significant water and smoke damage to the neighboring pharmacy and gym. Urich spent the weekend working the phones and setting up a temporary location. It's uncertain whether Crazy Joe's gym can reopen. However, due to the quality craftsmanship of these buildings 143 years ago, the fire did not spread.
3 bricks deep for each wall. So yeah, that definitely helps out for something like that. I was in the Urix building earlier today, and while there was significant smoke damage, there was no fire spread into those neighboring buildings.
Fire officials tell CTV News the blaze started in the back of the Chinese restaurant and quickly spread upstairs to the multiple apartments.
It's devastating. Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Don Kroll lived upstairs and lost everything. He had just left for work when he got a call from his girlfriend.
She opened the door and there was nothing but black smoke. She immediately slammed the door, choking and hacking on the smoke, and I told her to run to the back and get the heck out of there.
Historian Steve Peters was among those thrilled to learn the iconic Central Block sign, which was on the front facade, was salvaged during demolition despite being slightly damaged. Peters, like many St. Thomas residents, is sad to learn the restaurant, which served generations since 1964, is gone.
Certainly my family frequented it over the years, and late nights after being out at the bar down for a bowl of wonton soup and an egg roll to, part of it was the Rendezvous restaurant at one point, Barnes Menswear, even Beaton Stereo Shop was in there for a period of time. So, it's served a lot of uses since its construction in 1882. Sadly, it's not going to continue to do that.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Officials with the Canadian Firefighters Union say their members are facing more violence on the job. They represent firefighters in Canada and the U.S., urging both federal governments to strengthen protections. They say out of more than 100 fire departments surveyed, 40% of respondents said they've been assaulted in the past 5 years. In response, U.S. Justice Department officials have said they recognize the need for better emergency personnel protection. Provincial funding will keep inter-community transit operating in Middlesex County for at least another 4 years. The provincial government has announced $3.4 million in funding for 4 Middlesex County Connect routes. Those run from Lucan to London, Woodstock to London, Dorchester to St. Thomas, and London to Sarnia, with stops in smaller towns along the way. Last week, the provincial government had announced nearly $15 million for transit service in rural communities. Sarnia City Councillors have overruled strong mayor powers, pushing a potential multi-purpose recreation centre forward. The mayor says it's something taxpayers can't afford, though. With more on what happens next, here's Sean Irvin.
A video posted to social media is alluring to those desperate for a sports and recreation centre in Sarnia. The Sarnia Base project features indoor and outdoor sporting facilities, as well as meeting and social spaces. With the backing of multiple clubs in the city and the promise of at least $2 million from private foundations, it might seem like a slam dunk. But enter Mayor Mike Bradley.
2026 is not the year to put an extra burden on the taxpayers for something that would be wonderful to have. But right now, we can't afford to give $10 million to a group with no accountability on it. It just boggles my mind that that would happen.
So much so, Bradley used his strong mayor power to veto any plans to borrow over $4 million to secure the land for the site on Michigan Avenue. Yet by a vote of 6-3, the mayor's veto was overridden at council, paving the way for money to be borrowed in budget discussions next fall. Councillor Brian White put forward the motion to support the project.
It's not something that we can do alone. And I think when you're being given the opportunity for the long-term liability to be put in somebody else's hands, then I think it's an easy investment to make.
But the mayor says the impact on taxes is ill-timed in a year Sarnia was set to be debt-free. He's also concerned about a lack of civic involvement in the project.
When these issues hit the floor of council, I think they're going to find the public support will diminish to a great degree because they just want us to make sure anything we do protects their tax dollar.
It's really, really hard to see where an investment like this can go sideways, but we will put some provisions in place to make sure that we protect taxpayers' money.
Still, White says the money must be spent to keep investors and large-scale event promoters interested in Sarnia.
We don't let taxpayers' dollars walk out the door by having to drive to facilities across the province.
The total cost for the project remains uncertain, with some reports suggesting it could hit close to $25 million. Bradley argues that the millions the city could contribute would be better spent on existing facilities in need of upgrades. Sean Irvin, CTV News.
We are closing in on the end of 2025, and with that, New Year's Eve celebrations are in the works. That includes the festivities at Victoria Park on the 31st. For more on that, we're joined live by Lauren Stallone. Lauren, over to you.
Thanks, Carlyle. That's right. New Year's Eve is right around the corner, and it's absolutely beautiful out here. The snow is coming down. People are skating, looking at the lights, and it's really exciting. For that, I'm joined with Mario Cercelli, event coordinator here with New Year's Eve in the park. Now, Mario, tell us a little bit about what this year is going to hold and have in store for people coming out to the event.
Well, let me tell you, Lauren, this is the place to be, okay? It is the region's largest free New Year's Eve celebration, jam-packed with activities.
Amazing. And for anyone wondering how they can get involved, how they can come out to the event, what does that look like?
You know, just come on down. The bus will be operating for free. As I said, it's the largest free New Year's Eve celebration, jam-packed with local talent. The bands are fantastic. Some of the greatest artists in Ontario will be here on this stage right behind us. For the record, one of the contestants in the Forest City London Music Awards Battle of the High School Bands, the Brad Gibb Band is here. Simple Reflections for Artists, Latin Power Band, so you can get your salsa on. And of course, we'll ring in the new year, which is a special one this year, Lauren. We're opening the door on London's bicentennial. So leading us to that will be the Forest City London Music Awards All-Stars, knocking it out of the park, playing songs that you will want to dance and tap your toes and sing along with.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mario. There you have it, Carlyle. It's sure to be a really fun and exciting night, so come check it out.
All right, Lauren, thanks very much.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Yes, big chunky flakes of snow, but not a blizzard or a huge snowstorm. Blanket of activity that's working right through the heart of southern Ontario. This could be a situation where we see a bit of a transition over the next 24 to 48 hours. In fact, some rain and freezing rain intermixed. Temperatures above seasonal right now, projected for tomorrow. And then rain could be the dominant active weather situation as we head towards Christmas. Could it be a green one? We'll find out in just a few minutes with my complete weather forecast.
Thank you, Gary. Later on CTV News, buying Canadian on a budget. The survey on spending plans showing many customers cutting back. Plus, with trade talks on the new year horizon, the concern from dairy farmers, the latest economic target from south of the border.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
It's time to build a toy mountain. Make this holiday season merry for so many kids. Bring new unwrapped toys to CF Masonville Place.
All in support of the Salvation Army. We will be collecting donations November 21st to December 24th.
With all donations helping families right here in our community. Toy Mountain, supported by Gomez Appliances, London Bass Center, and UBC Built Local 1946.
Let's make this the best toy mountain ever. Visit ctvlondon.ca for more ways to donate.
A special send-off for kids at a Sarnia elementary school before their winter break, hosting members of the Sarnia Sting. With more on the event's impact, here's Brent Lale.
It was breakfast with the Sarnia Sting.
It's for a great opportunity for us to explore in the community and for these kids to get a nice healthy meal and interact with them and kind of see what's on their Christmas list and stuff. But it's a great opportunity for them to meet us on a personal level.
For 8 years, Imperial has partnered with the junior hockey team and local elementary schools who are close to their facility. They serve up pancakes, eggs, toast, and cereal.
Living in Sarnia, part of that is working at Imperial, but another part of that is being part of the community and getting out at these kind of events, giving your time to volunteer.
The young kids showed their appreciation to both the Sting and Imperial by singing songs about gratitude.
Thank you for your help.
They even got a special visit from Santa and some key one-on-one time with their local sports heroes.
I'm very thankful that they came here today. The amount of smiles I've seen here today because of the people who like Sarnia Sting was very nice.
It's very fun because we got to interact with the school, and I love to see all of my schoolmates happy, and the breakfast was amazing. I also made a poster for when they come, and it said, "Thank you, Sarnia Sting," and I got 2 of the players to sign it.
Overage forward Ben Pickle grew up near Oshawa and remembers the Generals players visiting him as a child. Those memories came flooding back.
There's a lot of 6-7, unfortunately. Just talk about Minecraft, Fortnite, and Pokemon, all that good stuff when I was little. Just showing their fun side, and obviously they're enjoying the camera time right now, so it's been great.
In Sarnia, Brent Lale, CTV News.
Gary Archibald is with me tonight. And Gary, given how many times I had the shovel out this month, the fact that there might be a green Christmas on the cards for us, just putting it out there, little surprising, I have to say.
Well, it's looking that way, my friend. I think temperatures are certainly going to be mild enough to see some rain between now and even Christmas Eve. Christmas Day could be above the seasonal grade, certainly in terms of daytime highs. Today, reaching a high close to 2 degrees, about 1.7 degrees this late afternoon at the airport. Some snowflakes now moving through much of southern Ontario, and even a little bit of lake enhancement too, coming off Lake Erie shores. Temperatures right now between 0, almost -1 and +3 across the region. So it's cooled off, but it's a comfortable night. The wind chill values, what it feels like, closer to -3, almost -5 at the airport in great city of London. Again, cloudy, breezy, with the winds picking up late tonight into early tomorrow morning. What are we dealing with? Well, a massive system, in fact, that's starting to break apart a bit with some drier air moving in from the northwest across Michigan State proper and into southwestern Ontario. We're seeing some rain with a good southerly flow in our mix, and that's why we're seeing this transition. Wherever we see shades of like salmon or pinkish color, that's your icy mix, freezing rain or ice pellets and the like. The chance of seeing freezing rain, though, does exist, and I think between midnight and about 4 a.m. is unfortunately the time frame that we could see it. And for those who work shift work, black ice, obviously a major concern at this time of the year. In terms of snowfall amounts, it's not great. It's just that temperature line that we're looking at. The heaviest bands are actually lying further to the east and northeast in the province, and we could see upwards of about 11 centimeters in Shelburne. Look at that. Some lake enhancement coming off Georgian Bay through the Bruce Peninsula as well. It's the rain I'm concerned about, with temperatures hovering around 0 degrees. If there's enough time at that temperature or even lower, obviously, that water will obviously freeze over. Hence the overnight travel on area roads, highways, even for pedestrians, of course, on sidewalks could be an issue. Take a look at the 7-day forecast I've put together for us, with Thursday and Friday being big holidays, Christmas standing out. Obviously, Thursday, look at this, a high of 4 degrees Celsius. Our average for this time of the year, closer to the freezing mark for a daytime high. And then more rain on the way for Boxing Day when people are out shopping. Saturday and Sunday still above the freezing mark for daytime highs. The lows will be at the freezing mark or below over the next 7 days. So, rain, snow mix, iciness, freezing rain potentially early morning before we're up for most of us through to about 8, 9 a.m. And then cloudy and rain showers up to 4 for the Midwest. Cloudy through Wednesday, Christmas Eve, high of 0, Christmas Day, and Merry Christmas to you and all of your friends and family, loved ones, no doubt, up to +2, a low of -3. And then just above the freezing mark or at the freezing mark, with rain showers dominating Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of next week. Still above seasonal and still likely to be very green for Christmas, Carlyle.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. When we come back, home for the holidays is north of the border. The latest travel numbers as Canadians show the U.S. the cold shoulder. A new report is predicting smaller expenditures this holiday season for Canadian shoppers. With more on the motivation to find cost savings, here's Colton Prale.
It's the season of giving. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas! But some Canadians find themselves giving
less. And you can do it if you're good at knowing what the prices are.
A new survey from TD Bank found more than a third of Canadians are cutting back on holiday spending, up from last year.
Me and my partner decided actually not to exchange gifts between the two of us this year. It's so expensive.
It's not just presents under the tree that are getting trimmed. According to TD, of those planning to save this holiday season, nearly half are cutting back on social spending.
Especially with groceries, are way more expensive, so it makes like hosting and having parties a lot harder.
But even as holiday budgets decrease, 46% of people are actually spending more money on Canadian products, according to Business Development Canada. At this Ottawa artisan shop, that's leading to a boom in new customers.
When folks can check all the boxes and they're not draining their bank account or taking out loans just to support the Canadian economy, then it's a win-win.
Still, according to TD, over 3/4 of Canadians admit they're vulnerable to overspending on the holidays, feeling the pressure to create memories or spend extra to give meaningful gifts.
It is something we're willing to pay for because we really want to support Canadian producers and makers of products.
A report from Business Development Canada says if families spent an extra $100 of their expected holiday shopping on Canadian products like this, the benefit to the national economy could be as much as $2 billion. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with the Canadian Retail Council are reporting a rise in fake bills circulating. They say in the past month, council members have reported more fake bills than in the entire previous year, with counterfeits so good they're almost impossible to detect. Officials say they're likely coming from organized crime, calling on government and police to do more to crack down. According to the Retail Council, Canadian businesses lose close to $9 billion a year to theft and fraud. Prime Minister Mark Carney has been named the Canadian Press Newsmaker of 2025. Carney was the overwhelming choice, picked by 72 of 95 respondents. Carney's path to the Prime Minister's office started with former PM Justin Trudeau's resignation announcement in January. Once he took over as Liberal leader, Carney quickly launched an election campaign, coming a handful of seats short of a majority. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays was a distant second in the Newsmaker survey with 8 votes. Stocks finished higher early this shortened holiday trading week. The TSX is up roughly 250 points, led by gains in base metals and energy stocks. In New York, the Dow rose 227, the Nasdaq added 121. The Canadian dollar was up about 0.3 cents. On commodities, gold surged more than $100 an ounce. Oil climbed 2.4%, roughly $58 a barrel. On CTV News, from NHL barns to horse stables, the former pro hockey player embracing his next chapter on the farm.
On the next episode of the Backroads podcast, we sit down with Patrick Armstrong, the Huron County-based co-founder of Huron Area Search and Rescue and the Dave Mounsey Memorial Fund.
Backroads with Scott Miller, available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. It's been a tumultuous year for interprovincial relations under the cloud of a trade war with the U.S. At times, the threats from south of the border galvanized Canadian leaders, but the response also saw domestic rivalries flare back up. With a look back, here's Andrew Johnson.
In a year that started out looking like this.
I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state. We're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Canada's premiers, the faces of each province, became a focal point of resistance against Donald Trump's trade threats.
As Canadians, we need to realize that he is not joking.
Each standing up to defend their provincial and territorial economic engines on behalf of Team Canada. An early move, all but two, opting to remove U.S. liquor from store shelves. Manitoba's Wab Kinew took a page right out of the American president's playbook.
It's a wonderful order. It's a beautiful order. This order is pulling American booze off the liquor mart shelves.
At the White House in February, the premiers met with members of the Trump administration, presenting a united front.
The worst thing we could do as a country is not show up.
For Ontario's Doug Ford, showing up meant going on the offensive, threatening to punish America by any means possible, including restricting power sales.
If the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely.
Ford even urged Alberta to put an export tax on oil.
Their gas prices go up $90 to $1 a gallon. They will lose their minds.
That did not sit well with Premier Danielle Smith, who called the idea absurd and self-destructive.
You can ask me as much as you like. The answer is no.
Smith, who'd been criticized for visiting Trump at his Mar-a-Lago home in January, said diplomacy, not retaliation, was the best way to deal with the president. The Team Canada narrative was also interrupted in May when supporters of Alberta separation celebrated a Smith government bill that would make it easier for voters to force a referendum. Smith said she didn't support separation, but also wouldn't stand in the way.
I will respect the outcome of citizen-initiated referenda, and that's why it's my job to make sure it doesn't get to that point.
I want to welcome everyone.
By summer, 6 months into the trade war, premiers and territorial leaders were in Ontario cottage country, talking trade, tariffs, and teamwork.
Right now, our economy in all Canada suffers because of the uncertainty.
Another goal of the three-day summit was to make it easier to move goods between provinces at a time when many discovered buying Canadian could be difficult.
I can't say how many times I've heard it's easier for me to access Alabama than Alberta.
In late September, Trump again turned up the heat, announcing new tariffs. Ontario's response got under the president's skin.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign...
A $75 million ad campaign airing on major American networks starring former President Ronald Reagan.
Over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
Trump called the ad fake and promptly ended Canadian trade talks.
They did a crooked ad. They knew it was Ronald Reagan loved tariffs.
Ontario ended up pulling the campaign early, but the man who authorized it was downright Trump-like in declaring its success.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
It was around this time cracks in the Premier's Team Canada collective widened out west over Alberta's pitch for a new pipeline to send bitumen to BC's northwest coast. Despite a hard no from BC's David Eby, Danielle Smith pushed to have the proposal added to Mark Carney's major projects list.
Premier Eby's comments are un-Canadian and they're unconstitutional. All it takes is the Prime Minister to say yes.
It's not the Danielle Smith show, it's the Canadian team. And we all deserve the same opportunity for the same federal funding for our projects as she does for hers. That's not un-Canadian, that is fair.
Smith got what she wanted, a memorandum of understanding signed by the PM.
I think it's going to unleash an incredible amount of investment.
As 2025 comes to a close, with Canada and the U.S. still deadlocked on a trade deal, we can expect a continued focus going forward on the premiers, advocating for their provinces and territories and trying to get along. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A new trade deal with the U.S. will dominate Canadian politics next year, with American officials already pointing at industries they want addressed. As Jeremy Sherrill reports, that has Canadian dairy farmers concerned.
Does this 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
For more than half a century,
I've been doing this, well, my whole life, but I took over from my dad in 1992.
Dairy farmers like Peter Reuter have been protected.
When you drive by my farm, know that behind the door there's a farmer like me producing the milk to their standards that they want, healthy, pure, and local.
Canada's supply management system means the industry and its producers are afforded certain safeguards. Quotas and minimum price guarantees ensure stability and predictability. Supply management also protects the domestic market, limiting import access.
It's not competing against the American producer. It's competing against American subsidies.
But in dairy farms like this one across the country, there is a sense of uncertainty, concern over what CUSMA renegotiations in 2026 could mean for the system that local producers have long been accustomed to.
There comes an end point where it's not worthwhile to, give up that much market share. So we can't give up more.
This week, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told Congress the dairy industry would be a priority in upcoming trade negotiations. Under the current agreement, the U.S. gets tariff-free access to about 3.5% of Canada's dairy industry. They're pushing to expand that. Prime Minister Mark Carney has repeatedly said supply management will never be on the table in negotiations, a position he stood by when asked Friday.
Not on the table. We'll continue to protect supply management.
In a statement to CTV News, the president of the Dairy Farmers of Canada says they expect this commitment to be honored as the CUSMA review process continues. But here on the farm, the threat is hard to ignore.
If anything were to happen, it'd be vitally impossible for me to continue.
A harsh reality Reuter and the dairy industry as a whole hope they won't have to face.
Compared to the U.S. farms, I'm miniature.
Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
New data on Canadian travel shows at the busiest time of the year, trips south of the border are still trending down. With more on the numbers, here's Scott Hurst.
During the holiday season, Toronto Pearson, Canada's busiest airport, is expecting more than
3 million passengers, so it'll likely be very busy. It is a similar story at airports right across the country, both big and small. But as the year comes to a close, one glaring travel trend stands out.
We have boycotted traveling to the States.
Travel to the United States continues to take a hit. In October, according to new data from StatsCan, the number of Canadians returning on trips from the U.S. was down more than 26% year over year. Political turmoil with the current U.S. administration erupted soon after Donald Trump returned to the White House, and he began poking fun at America's northern neighbor and attacking Canada's sovereignty. It is a trend that has remained consistent for much of the year, Canadians saying no to popular U.S. travel hotspots.
A lot of concern going forward about who is going to be traveling and will they be traveling back to the U.S., and time will only tell. But at this point, definitely I'm seeing a reduction in crowds and people and lineups and reservations and anything like that.
It is a similar story for Canadians traveling south of the border back by car. Return trips by Canadian residents from the U.S. on land declined more than 30% to 1.6 million in October. Here's one category that has turned around. Trips to Canada by U.S. residents has increased for the first time in 8 months. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
The weather photo of the day is brought to you by Auburn Group's Magic of Lights, on until January 4th. Thanks to Elizabeth Allen and our squirrel friend for this image. Snow, yes, we've seen it. It's on the ground in some parts of southern Ontario, but we are getting milder and could see flurries of rain, snow, and icy mix, freezing rain for that matter. And then maybe a green Christmas with showers. We'll break down what you need to know as we head into the final stage of 2025 coming up.
President Donald Trump says he's appointing a new envoy to Greenland, intent on taking over the territory.
What I can say about the EU position is the following, which has been our long-standing position on the matter, that preserving the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark, its sovereignty and the inviolability of its borders is essential for the European Union.
The Louisiana governor has been named envoy to Greenland. The prime ministers of Greenland and Denmark said in response, you cannot annex other countries. Greenland belongs to the Greenlanders, and the United States must not take over Greenland. U.S. lawmakers are speculating whether the president's attorney general should be held in contempt over releasing only a portion of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
The quickest way, and I think most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi.
A photograph of a storage cabinet containing several photos, including one of President Trump with women in bathing suits, was removed from the DOJ website Saturday. That came at the request of the Southern District of New York over apparent concerns the women in the photos were victims. The photo was later restored after it was determined it did not include any of Epstein's victims. Australian authorities are releasing new details about the suspects behind last week's mass shooting. Court documents released today show photos of 2 homemade pipe bombs and surveillance images of the 2 gunmen taken days before the attack. Australian police say the 2 bombs were thrown at a crowd at Bondi Beach before the shooting but failed to detonate. According to police, the suspects planned the attacks for months and had visited the beach just 2 days earlier. Meanwhile, crews have begun clearing out thousands of bouquets and messages that were left at the site of the shooting. Local authorities say the tributes will eventually be displayed at the Sydney Jewish Museum and the Australian Jewish Historical Society.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. An East London diner has been transformed for the holidays. This is Vuola's Diner on Clark Road, which has decked its halls for the past few years like this. The owner says they wanted to create a winter wonderland for people to enjoy without having to leave the city.
Wrapping paper on the ceiling, the chairs are covered, some of the booths are covered, the tables have stick-ons that look like presents. Some funny quotes, some, a little bit crazy quotes on there. Vula loves Christmas. Because she loves Christmas and she knows that a lot of people are struggling during this time of year, she wanted to bring joy to everyone.
Finally tonight, a retired pro hockey player and his next chapter on the prairies. He's launching a horse-drawn carriage business. And with more on what it means to him and his post-hockey life, here's Allison Bamford.
Pretty hungry.
Extra bales for the horses on days when it's extra cold.
A little chilly, hey?
Rich Pilon spends hours caring for his animals, feeding, grooming, and training.
Right now with the young horses, it's getting them to pull their own weight.
Pilon played 15 years in the NHL, almost entirely for the New York Islanders, retiring in 2001. Now he runs his own horse-drawn carriage business.
That was kind of our hobby and pastime was horses. So I've grown up around the horses pretty much since I've been a little guy.
For 2 years, he's cut through red tape trying to get a business license in Saskatoon. You've spoken here before. This week, he was finally approved for a temporary permit.
It's an amazing thing that I get to do and be part of. As much as I'm getting paid to be there, it's still amazing to see that these people are having such a good time.
More than that, Pilon says this is how he heals.
Here you go.
Finding purpose in the routine.
There's an accountability and a commitment from me to them that if I'm not there to feed them, then they don't eat.
Pilon is open about his struggles with mental health, addictions, and attempted suicide. 4 years ago, he formed Horses and Hockey Let's Talk to support youth in northern Saskatchewan. These horses have traveled across the province, helping Pilon promote his mental health initiatives. Kids can learn about his story, play hockey, and interact with the animals.
It's to basically give them a break from their real life and hopefully, like I said, fill their cup with joy. They get to have some fun.
A gift these horses give Pilon every day that he hopes to pass forward. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.